Warning! This is a spoiler review of TADC Episode 9. If you do not want to get spoiled for TADC Episode 9, please click off the video right now. Anyways, I figured I might as well just do this because people are talking about it anyways. I've had a lot of these thoughts clunking around my head for a couple weeks, and I just want to be done. Let me be done, please. Why did they decide to kill my favorite character that I had been hyperfixating on for like 6 months? What did you mean by that, Gooseworks? What the frick? I can't really honestly do an honest review because I was so spoiled on the episode, but I do want to kind of address like, wow, holy mischaracterization. Starting at when Jax attempts to reach out at Pomni, ending at Ragatha and Pomni walking away from each other and staring at each other for like 18 seconds straight. When I first saw that scene, I saw the leaked version of it. I kid you not, I was doubled over in laughter the entire flipping time. And even in the theater, I still had to hold back my laughter so much. I actually managed to record my initial reactions, so that'll play right now.
So bad. What do you mean? Jax goes to Pomni and like is about to say something to her, walks away, and then she just I'm losing it. Why is Sumo giving more of a frick than Pomni? I straight up can't take this seriously. I can't. Pomni, what do you have to say about this? Okay, so, oh my god, I consider you my closest friend. How? That's how that entire, okay. Tears in my eyes. How did Sumo and Ragatha individually show more care for Jax? Abstracting. And not Pomni. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm really understanding why the fandom is crashing out so hard. This is just so funny. This is dumb and weird.
Pomni, what do you mean you forgot things could get worse? You mention abstraction once in episode 8, and you proceed to mention Kaufmo, who was abstracted, and tell Jax, be here later, implying like, hey, don't go and die. What do you mean? And then Pomni proceeds to tell Ragatha, you're my best friend. Okay. That scene will never not be funny to me. I can't take it seriously. Jax Abstraction, if you had asked me this when I first found out about Jax Abstraction, how I felt about it, I would have been like, terrible writing decision, they shouldn't have done it. However, after actually going through the 5 stages of grief, I came to the realization that Jax Abstraction quite literally made the most sense here. Because, again, there was really only 2 ways that I saw this going, one being Jax using imagination-based powers to accidentally or purposefully conjure up stuff to cope with the situation at hand, or die. And quite literally, if I were Jax and I was in that specific situation, yeah, I would abstract too, straight up. So Jax Abstraction is a mixed bag. I actually wish that they left that ambiguous, where you, the viewer, what do you, the viewer, think happens to Jax? It's just that Jax Abstraction was treated so mildly. It was such a mild thing. Like, it was just like, oh, there's Jax. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say I do or don't think Jax Abstraction should or shouldn't have happened. I will dog on the execution, though. I did not like how it was executed at all. Pomni somehow enters Jax's mind. What? The way that was like a theory I had originally had, but then proceeded to go, no, that's stupid. How would they even execute that? They straight up did that. They straight up executed it and didn't have it make any sense. The way that this episode just forms a lot more questions, because now I'm questioning, okay, I thought that abstraction was like, you're basically dead. And then it's the way that I feel like they literally had to sideline and mischaracterize characters just for the sake of the Jax episode. Considering that Jax Abstraction happened so early, there was literally no point to the Mindscape segment. The only thing the Mindscape segment does is tell you things about Jax that you pretty much already know. It's just elaborating more on that. And then it's the flashback episode. You get Kaufmo and Ribbit and Jax, and they were all happy, and then they weren't. And you get some Jax lore, finally. I thought that they were going to be so much more main cast inclusive. I genuinely think the first 10 minutes could have been a 30-minute episode in and of itself. You could have really deep dived into some of that. Then they kind of lock in at the Jax Mindscape segments, And then we do get the flashback episode, but I do appreciate that they kind of rapid pace the flashbacks. And then Kane comes back for some reason, and then we learn about their real life counterparts. Whatever, man. I didn't think we were going to get a lot of that, and then we did. And then I was like, okay, it's the way that this episode simultaneously could have been an email, but needed way more time to justify anything. It just is so poorly paced. Genuinely, they locked in for the Jack's Mindscape segment, and then anything around that just felt like, oh, okay. They needed filler episodes. They needed at least, I'd say, 2 more episodes. I kid you not, episode 8 would have been the perfect final episode. And this is why I say so much happens and yet nothing happens in episode 9, because the Jack's Mindscape segments only take about 18 to 20 minutes. There's a whole hour. What are they doing the other 40 minutes? I think my honest complaint is, where was the main cast? Considering it is a finale, I would have loved to see more of the main cast. I think episode 8 balances a lot really well. So that's why it's boggling my mind how episode 9 just didn't do that at all. It could have been still the Jax episode, quote unquote, but it should have definitely had more of the cast included. That's why I kind of thought they were going to do some sort of Jax accidentally conjures up things and then the cast has to deal with the conjurings. And then that was how they were going to kind of get into more of Jack's lore without getting into flashback episode and, do things in a more creative way. But then they just didn't do that. They played in my face hard. I didn't think it was going to be the Jax episode. I didn't think anyone was going to abstract. I didn't think they were going to bring Kane back. And I thought it was going to be more main cast inclusive. I didn't think we were going to get much information on their real life counterparts, if any. I will say I did call Ragatha and Pomni talking about Ribbit, and I also weirdly called Jack's crying POV with my The Mask Falls storyboard. How did I call something so specific? What? Overall, the episode felt poorly written and poorly executed. I think the idea and the concept would have been really interesting if it was just developed more. Just the way that it was executed feels so off and out of place. There's a lot more questions that are formed in light of this episode. I really do not understand abstraction anymore. There's a lot of stuff that we really didn't need to know. And yeah, the episode is not bad by any means. It's pretty good, but it's certainly not the best episode, and it certainly does fall short in a few regards, especially, I would say, as a finale. My thoughts stayed relatively the same after watching it the way it was intended in theaters. I still have a lot of nitpicks, I still have a lot of issues with it, a lot of which everyone else has already talked about, so would be parroting everything at this point. Yeah, I just wanted to come here and say I don't think Jack's abstraction was necessarily a bad choice. It just was really poorly executed. I feel like should have been a more climactic moment, or even just done slightly differently. And then the characters' reactions it was just funny how Pomni really didn't give a frick. I am glad that we actually finally got Jack's lore and we got to see Ribbit and Kaufmo. I just didn't care for the execution of the episode. I think it could have been done a lot more interestingly. I wish that the main cast was more involved, and I think that this episode really proved how much TADC needed even 2 more episodes minimum. Yeah, because everything felt pretty poorly paced and poorly timed. So yeah,